Okay, so just like any other artist, I've been feeling a little uninspired and I don't know what to draw. And I saw someone doing this challenge, the random color challenge. So I went to this random website to generate six random colors, and I got turquoise green, pearl gentian blue, ochre yellow, chocolate brown, light gray, and traffic yellow. So here are the colors, and it's kind of a weird combination of colors because you basically have the same yellow color twice. I mean, one is a bit brighter, but pretty much pretty much the same color. And then you've got the green and the blue, which are very similar as well. So I went to Pinterest to start looking for inspiration, and it was kind of hard to figure out what to do with these colors because there is no red. And now that I mention red, here are some rules. So I'm drawing digitally, which means I've got layers and blending modes. So the rules are pretty much I can use layers and I can use blending modes and all that, but I can't abuse them. Because obviously I could get a whole bunch more colors if I just abused like hue and color dodge and whatever, but I'm gonna try to not do that and stick to at least the general vibe of these colors. So here I went with this image of a woman in a bathtub kind of lighting up a cigarette, and she's lit by green lighting, and I thought this uses the colors in an interesting way. I was trying to make the colors that I have look like a skin color here, but it was really difficult because obviously skin has like, subsurface scattering where it's got this kind of red glow to it, and that is difficult to achieve without cheating in this challenge. And I kind of will a little bit because it's pretty much inevitable if you use color dodge brown over yellow. It's kind of inevitable that you get red or orange or something like that, but I really tried to not abuse it. And here I decided to make this not just some lady, but my original character. At the moment, she kind of looks like a gorilla member. Gorilla? Gorillas, like the group. Anyway, I also used, I think I'm using overlay here, so I do get a darker color than the original brown, which I permitted. I permitted. I'm sorry if you think this is cheating, but maybe in the future I'll do another challenge where I try to follow the colors as closely as possible, but here it's kind of like I don't know, they're kind of more like guidelines. Anyway, I was unhappy with the previous drawing. I don't know, it just wasn't working out for me. So I started sketching out a completely different drawing, and I just decided to not mess around too much, to try to make these colors look like a light skin tone, and I gave up and just made the brown the skin tone. I tried to challenge myself in the previous version, but I was not motivated enough to be playing around with color theory that much. So then here again, I use overlay. I think this is overlay, with the brown to get a darker hue for kind of the line art. Well, it's not really line art. It's kind of a sketch over the sketch. So first I do a sketch, and then I paint over the sketch, and then I do another sketch over that sketch. Um, yeah, I don't really know what I'm doing either, and this drawing will go through some pretty rough phases because I was definitely in a bit of an art block when I made this. And as of recording this voiceover, it's been like a couple weeks actually. So I'm kind of like, this is almost new to me. Like, I don't remember any of this. Also, the voiceover, as you can tell, is a lot more casual than in my other videos, if you can call it that. Like, I'm really improvising and I'm not re-recording each little section as many times. Let me know if you guys like this, because I definitely prefer this because it takes less time and I'm a little more free, you know, I don't overthink everything I say, whereas with my previous way of making voiceovers, I was just like, I would literally record a 3-second clip of me talking and then re-record and then re-record until I have it fine. I mean, I also had to do that because my microphone was garbage quality and I had to make sure that the little clip that I got was, you know, it sounded all right. But now I'm not as worried about that, so I'm not as worried about talking for like 3 minutes straight and then finding out that my microphone actually messed it all up so bad. Anyway, here you can see that I used a little bit of color dodge and her face is starting to have some orange tones, and I decided that this is fine. I mean, the effect that I'm trying to do is difficult enough to do on its own without trying to achieve it with no red or orange and no color dodge. Also, you might have noticed that I made her eyes brown instead of blue. I initially made them blue because I wanted her silhouette, if I can say that, have a little bit of contrast, and you know, it kind of would match the background and bring some of the background into her character. But it just looked weird. It just looked like those memes of blue-eyed people, if you know what I'm talking about. So I changed it to brown, and I'm so happy that I changed them to brown because she's kind of got a more tranquil look to her. So when I felt that I have the most of the scattered light effect, if you can call it that, done, I moved on to making the dress, and this was so difficult because I wanted it to be kind of like a little bit whimsical, but I just couldn't get the shape right and it didn't look quite right. I don't know if I'm satisfied with it completely in the final result, but you know, when you're in an art block, you can't really demand too much. So then I started going in and adding some more detail and fixing, you know, the anatomy and stuff, flipping the canvas, all of that. Also, my art style has been so inconsistent lately. I think I'm going through a bit of a phase of change, you know. I'm just unhappy with all of my art. And I don't mean to be pessimistic here, but I feel like this is just something that every artist goes through. Like, you have that burst of improvement where you draw something and you're like, oh my god, like, was this even me who drew this? And then you kind of have a plateau, and then it feels like you drop and you're really unhappy with all of your art. More so with the art style, like, I just want to change everything about the way I draw. So I've been experimenting a little more with the way I sketch and the way I render, especially because I've been trying to render in a more painterly, kind of messy way. Because something that I used to really not like about making art is having to go in and refine every detail, because that's what my art style was like. It was a lot more realistic, and you know, I would like draw every eyelash because that's just what my style was like. And then I realized, wait a minute, I can change my art style. You know, like, if drawing like this feels unnatural to me, I don't have to draw like that. That was an amazing revelation for me. Anyway, here you can see that I'm kind of doing the finishing touches. You know, I decided to not go too detailed with the background. It's kind of more of a suggestion of a background. I referenced this off of an image on Pinterest, very roughly, very loosely. But yeah, I don't know why there's like grass on her head as well, but you know, I really like the framing of it. And I like how she's backlit, but also there is the warm light coming in through the leaves above her. And actually, I'm pretty satisfied with how the final piece turned out, and I hope you guys like it too. And I'm sorry that it took me so long to post this video. I've been procrastinating, but yeah, here she is. Anyway, subscribe and like and all of that, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.